been a while since we've done those. But tonight, Kevin McCarthy is looking into an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. What does it mean? We're going to talk about it. Will Biden be getting impeached for real? Again, we will talk about it. Also, this based midget, well, I guess he's not a midget. He's technically a dwarf, okay? But he goes on, a literal dwarf, and absolutely humiliates just a random liberal on the Piers Morgan show. We will react to that. Also, Barack Obama's former chef has drowned under tragic circumstances. That's all we're going to say. That's all tonight on The Vince Dao Show. Stay tuned. And we are live tonight from the great republic of the state of Florida. Welcome everyone to the Vince Dao Show. I am your host, Vince Dao. It is, what day is it? Tuesday. I've been losing track of the days. Been pretty tired, all right? Pretty worn down if you can't tell, but it is Tuesday, July 25th, the year of our Lord, 2023, and we got a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk about this impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden, Hornswoggle destroying the libtards on the Piers Morgan show. It was a sight to behold. Obama's chef, and also we got to react to one of the dumbest tweets of all time. And so we got a great show for you tonight. But as usual, before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like right now on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And as usual, if you do have questions, comments, Q&A, whatever it is that you want read and answered during the show, or you just want to support our independent broadcast here, feel free to send it in via the super chats. I, as usual, check the super chats, as you know by now, periodically in between our segments. So, all right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't have much else, so I suppose we might as well get into the stories for tonight, but I do hope you guys are doing well. All right, there's my filibuster. Hope you guys are having a good day. Like I said, I think I'm sick with something. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't feel sick, but I feel very fatigued for the last week, and I don't know what it is. So, I think I have a mysterious Brandon biochemical weapon, okay, and it's the point of it is to lower my acute mental acumen just so that it makes the show harder to do. That's my conspiracy theory. Anyways, let's get into the hour of Dao tonight. Again, if you guys do want to super chat to support the show, it is greatly appreciated. But let's get into our stories for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So we open with this. You may have heard the rumors. They're circling around, they're floating around. Is Joe Biden going to be impeached finally for real? Well, we'll have to see. But the rumor around DC, it's not a rumor, they've said it openly, is that McCarthy and the House GOP are looking into an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. So will this mean they actually go through with an actual impeachment hearing and all of that? Honestly, I will believe it when I see it. It's Kevin McCarthy. It's the GOP after all, all they like to do is virtue signal, which is very ironic because we as conservatives always accuse the left of virtue signaling, but this is all they're doing probably, right? Standing there and posturing. But in the rare and unlikely event that an impeachment might actually happen here, to this I say, finally, right? But, and I'll talk about that in a second, because I know what the counter arguments are going to be. I know this is going to be contentious. But first, let me play for you really quickly here, just a little bit of Kevin McCarthy's words on this so you can get a vibe of how he's feeling about this. In his politician speak, that obviously means nothing, but let's take a listen here.
Put yourselves in our place. Doesn't matter who's in the majority or not. You have somebody who went to the FBI. They had a 1023, which is a form they talk about, who says this is an informant that the FBI continues to use. They heard that there were payments to bribe, allegedly, the vice president at the time. That the bribe would be hard to follow because there were shell companies that it would take you years to get through it. That was one allegation. We have a president who told the American public in October that he's never spoken to his family about any of the business. He said no one in the family had ever gotten money from China. Well, now that is proven not to be correct. We now have IRS whistleblowers come forth saying that the Justice Department used their power differently than David Weiss or Garland has said to the American public and to Congress and Senate. They also said that we all know the statute of limitations.
So I think we basically get the point. Biden lies, Biden is corrupt, Biden is a hypocrite, blah, blah, blah. The question, of course, has always been, my question has always been, what are we going to do about it? Well, the way I see it, like I said, I'm not sure if the GOP will even go through with it. I mean, let's be real. It's the GOP after all. But I absolutely think, and I've been saying this since we won the House, we need to go through on an impeachment with Joe Biden. And I already know what everyone's going to say. Well, Vince, what's the point of that? You know, it's not going to succeed anyway. You're not going to remove him from office. Isn't it just political theater? Well, of course, it's in many ways political theater. Welcome to politics. The whole thing is kind of a circus. The question is, do you win the circus or do you lose the circus? That's really what it's about. Let me tell you why I think that, I hope at least the GOP grows some balls and actually just goes through with an impeachment here at least once. Okay, first and foremost, Donald Trump, the last president, not only was he impeached twice, but he now has been indicted. That's an unprecedented level of power at least 3 times. It's about to be the 3rd time he's going to be indicted. Republicans need to respond to that at least once, right? Because, you know, we always stand here and say, imagine if the roles were reversed. Well, who's to say you're going to reverse the roles? Because, frankly, if the roles were reversed, what would Republicans do? What they've done for so long here is just stand there and virtue signal. The big reason why I think we need to do an impeachment, even if it is a little bit symbolic or it's not really going to go all that far, is because at least it says on a baseline level for once, hey, look, you mess around with us Democrats all the time. You push us around. At least for once, we're able to say, look, we also will stand up back to you, right? We will use power in reverse the same way that you use it back, okay? It's not a perfect, you know, eye for an eye, but at least it says something, right? And at least that, I think, in my opinion, if we can at least show to a degree, look, Republicans are also willing to stand up and use power, maybe even to the most minimal extent, they'll think twice. Right? Because part of the reason they've been using the power the way they've been able to for so long and you know, is because they know we're not going to do anything about it. We're not going to retaliate. We never do. All we stand there is virtue signal about hypocrisy, and we never actually do anything in return. This, to me, at least says, hey, look, Republicans, for once, that's the message it communicates to the other side. Look, we're willing to stand up. We will use the power we are given democratically by the people of America to go after you in the same way, not even in the same way, but at least in a semi-equal way that they have gone after us. That's number one. But secondly, beyond the fact that it just simply shows something I think that is very important, which is, look, for once Republicans will actually stand up and fight back. For once, we are willing to wield power in the opposite direction. Really what it does, in a very practical, strategic sense, I know the common thinking will be, Vince, that'll just be bad optics for the GOP because it will basically just communicate to the country, hey, look, we're involved in frivolous nonsense and we're wasting time, all of this stuff. Well, first of all, will an impeachment trial waste a lot of time? Absolutely it will. I would argue that's a good thing. That means that we can't get any bipartisan omnibus spending bills through the government. So in a practical sense, I think it's a good thing. But you know what else it does that is very important? Is that it scandalizes the Biden name to the masses, right? Because I know we Republicans, we talk all the time, you know, we do these hearings about Hunter Biden and the laptop, and then we do, you know, these Fox News hits about how the FBI covered up the Hunter Biden laptop. But understand, it's all just talk, and it's kind of talk into our own little echo chamber. The average in-the-middle independent in this country, the average center of the road American, they may have heard kind of rumblings or whispers about Hunter Biden and Burisma and a laptop or something, but it's not at the forefront. Honestly, they're not particularly aware of it, and, you know, it's not really a factor, right? Joe Biden thus far has gotten away with this political image. Yes, is he incompetent? Yes. Is he sleepy Joe Biden? Yes. Do most Americans look at him and see a fossil? Yes. But one thing he has not really been hit with so far politically is this idea of scandal, right? This idea of Well, you know what I mean by that, right? A scandal in terms of him being corrupt, in terms of him being actually malicious, right? Because he obviously already comes off as incompetent and dumb and Sleepy Joe and all of that stuff. But he has not yet had to deal, right, with that image of actually being corrupt, right? And so why I'm saying I think this is a good idea politically is beyond the fact, like I said, it's just eye for an eye. They do it to us, so we should do it back to them. It's very principled. I don't see anything principally wrong. Is that strategically speaking, it will bring this idea of a Biden scandal forefront at the center, right? CNN will not be able to simply just not talk about Hunter Biden or the corruption or whatever it is to their side. Sure, they'll put their own spin on it, but understand just the very idea, there is still something about impeachment, even though our country is so divided. There is something about impeachment, right? That kind of creates this image of instability. It tarnishes the name, it drags his name through the mud. And for that reason and that reason alone, I absolutely think it's a very good idea to go through with this, not because we're seriously going to, convict Joe Biden or get him out of office, but because politically speaking, it shows Republicans are willing to fight fire with fire for once. That's a good thing. I virtually guarantee you all the voters who disappointingly perhaps voted for you in 2022, at least will kind of look to you and say, okay, at least you did something, right? And so when it comes to 2024 and trying to turn out the base, turn out rural America, which we sometimes struggle with in certain elections, at least we can go to them, the hardcore base that is kind of turned off and disaffected with McCarthy and some of these people. And at least we can go to them and say, hey, look, Republicans, for once, they stood up and did something. That's a good thing, right? But then, beyond that point, it's even to the middle. Again, even in the short term, perhaps you might say, well, it's gonna make Republicans look petty. Well, think about Bill Clinton, for instance. Even that impeachment, which happened again when the country was far less divided than it is now. But even back then, okay, you could say in the 98 midterms, they lost a few House seats here and there. What happened in the next presidential election? Very close margins, but who won the next presidential election? And then when you look now to history, how do we remember Bill Clinton? Right? Do we remember him as the guy who did NAFTA necessarily or presided over a relatively decent economy in the 90s? Do we remember him as the guy who did the crime bill? No. We remember him as the guy who did the you-know-what in the White House, right? There's something about a scandal and an impeachment scandal and dragging Biden through the mud that obviously he deserves, but also, like I said, politically speaking, will be good for our party. And so my hope is that Republicans absolutely do this. Okay, for once they grow some stones. Will they do it? Will it happen? Who knows? I'm very skeptical, and frankly, I wouldn't be surprised they go through a whole impeachment inquiry and last second they just decide, oh, we're not going to go through with it. Or here's another possibility, right? Let's say, because McCarthy is better than McConnell, don't get me wrong. We might get to a point where McCarthy is all ready to go. He says, okay, we're here to do the impeachment, and it passes the House, and then what happens, right? Turtleneck Mitch McConnell's like, our precedent, this is unprecedented, I don't think it's good for our democracy, and then it totally fails in the Senate, and you have a bunch of the GOP break ranks and break ship. I will admit, that would be a bad look, but assuming you can get at least Mitch McConnell united on this, I absolutely think you need to go through with this. It's actually good politics, it's smart politics. And there's my thoughts, but let me know your thoughts. Like I said, I understand what a lot of people's counter arguments are going to be. The whole, it's not going to pass, it's not going to be effective, blah, blah, blah. For the reasons I listed out, I actually think it is good politics. It brings scandal to his name, and he's a president who, as stupid and incompetent as he is, right? The only scandals he's really had to deal with so far have to do with incompetence. What was if? And don't get me wrong, there's probably some malicious intent behind the things this administration does, but at least on the surface, what was Afghanistan? It was incompetence. Oh, that's Sleepy Joe, but at least he's not evil like Donald Trump, right? What is the border? It's at least, again, on the surface. I know there's deep down, but on the surface, it's incompetence. This very directly says, no, Joe Biden is a bad guy. This is a corrupt scumbag family. This whole working class Joe thing is a bunch of nonsense. And it forces that into the national conversation, which these Fox News hits about the Hunter Biden laptop don't do. So there's my take on the impeachment stuff. That's why I think it's absolutely a good idea. But before we continue here, I know we got a super chat from Zachary for $10. Thank you very much, Zachary. He says, tragic news, guys. R101 failed in Washington by 5,000 votes. Parents can now have their children hidden from them if they don't give the child abortions or mastectomies. That is ridiculous. So Wow. So in the state of Washington, apparently, according to Zach, they're now doing it where if you don't want to, if there's a teen pregnancy, you don't want to go through with abortion, you can, CPS, Child Protective Services, will take them from you. And if you don't want to do gender affirming, quote unquote, care, in terms of mastectomies, that is breast removal. That is like, forget the hormones, which are just as bad. That is physical surgery. If you don't go through with that, apparently you can have your kids taken. That's absolutely evil, Zachary. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you for the $10 again, guys. If you do want to super chat to support the show, it is greatly appreciated. By the way, let's get the stream here to 100 likes. All right, we got another one here from Christopher for $5 who says, I want them to impeach as many of Biden's cabinet members as well, but this GOP is a party that easily unites over foreign countries, but not ours. Thank you for the $5, Christopher, and this is very true. And you know what else I'll say about that, Christopher, is, you know, there's a Republican skepticism in terms of using power, right? So when it comes to Democrats, they all manage to unite, right? But you know for a fact, I virtually guarantee you, if they do this impeachment, there's going to be quite a few Republicans. Mitt Romney will be one of them, but there will be many others who break off and say, well, I don't think it's principally good for our democracy. Meanwhile, what are they doing? They impeached Trump twice. They're about to indict him now a third time. But there's this Republican allegiance to so-called quote-unquote principles that we just can't get rid of, right? And they're not really principles when you think about it. Because to me, you know what's not principled? Handing over our country to a bunch of communist, degenerate psychopaths who want to give children mastectomies, right? I don't think that's very principled. I don't think losing to actual forces of evil is particularly principled. My principles are, I want to live in a safe, stable, functioning country that is prosperous. That's my principles, right? But, you know, they have this very allegiance to certain principles in terms of democratic norms, and we shouldn't use power like this or that. Meanwhile, the other side is literally bulldozing us, right? But you know it's true, right? Dan Crenshaw will stand there alongside us all in the gulags and say, well, you know, at least we enacted our principles. Yeah, what good are your principles if you're in jail or silenced or, you know, worse than that, right? They're absolutely no good. But you know this is true. You know how Republicans are. So thank you for the $5, Christopher. It is very true there. And we got another super chat here for $2 from, hold on, let me press it here. All right, hold on. We got another $2 super chat here from Dollar for Dollar who says, thoughts on the, there you go. Thoughts on the apartheid in South Africa. I assume you're talking about the quote unquote reverse apartheid that's happening now. And yeah, it is evil. It really is, you know. They came along, it actually sounds familiar in some ways, does it not? They came along, you know, years ago and talked about equality and how we just had to live in this colorblind society. And then, you know, now what are they doing? They're actively persecuting, frankly, white people, right? So I assume that's what you're asking. Thank you for the $2, Dollar for Dollar. And it is true, it is real, it's happening. But of course, if you point out that it happens, you know, obviously I'm racist or bigoted or whatever it is. Thank you for the super chats, guys. Again, if you guys do want to send them in, I will read them here. But let's move on now, folks, from the Biden impeachment story and talk about something, I suppose, a little bit more lighthearted. So you may have heard this. I'm not sure if you heard this news, but Disney is making a live action remake of the Snow White movie, right? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And what's very interesting and hilarious is they're casting, as you can see here, the seven dwarves as regular people, right? Because dwarves are real things, right? Dwarfism is a real thing. There's real human beings that are dwarves, but they're recasting the dwarves as regular people because they don't apparently want to be offensive or whatever. So instead of, you know, actually being inclusive and giving the roles to actual dwarves, they're giving them to regular people. And anyways, on the Piers Morgan show last week, they had this debate about it where this just, we'll call him a liberal individual. Okay, he's a liberal individual. There's the nice way to say it. Goes on and says, this is the right move by Disney because you're not offending anyone. Meanwhile, you have this Chad, this based I keep wanting to call him based midget because it's funny, but he's technically a dwarf. This based dwarf Hornswoggle comes on and absolutely tears him apart and says, look, you know, dwarves are real people. You want to talk about representation? They could have given the 7 dwarves roles to actual dwarves, right? Casted actual dwarf actors, and instead they gave them to real people, and that's actually very stupid and very wrong and just straight up dumb. But we're going to react to it tonight here, folks. Okay, so here it is. Here's this idiot libtard versus based midget dwarf Hornswoggle. Okay, take a look.
All right, James, you've got no problem with what Disney are doing. You think this is progressive and inclusive, and all those moaning about it should shut up.
I think you should live in the 1930s, actually, Piers, because that's where you belong, really, listening to what you were just saying then. Also, I'm going to quote Warwick Davis, because he said he finds it patronising
wow,
when people...
You're living in the... Sorry to pause just off the gate, but he's living in the 1930s, okay? Apparently. He's living in the 1930s for saying that a movie called Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs should have dwarves that are dwarves and not grown people for some strange reason. Okay.
Are offended on his behalf, and you've just spent a 5-minute monologue being offended on his behalf, and I think that's ridiculous.
Well, let me bring in Dylan, because Dylan is also offended, and he happens to be a dwarf actor. Dylan,
here we
I've
go.
got to say, I was
dwarf.
very curious when I saw what Peter Dinklage came out and said, because I did wonder who appointed him the head of the dwarf actor community, and it turns out nobody did other than him. And the people who, it seems to me, have really suffered in all this are the 6 dwarf actors who would have expected to have roles in this remake in a massive Hollywood blockbuster, who are now not going to have that experience, or the money, or the fame that may have come with that. What is your response to that?
Which, by the way, is a completely valid point. I mean, first of all, it's just stupid overall to say, oh, political correctness, we can't cast dwarves, even though... there's real people, right? There's actually, like, dwarfism is a real thing. We can't cast dwarves because it's just stupid. It's just silly. It's just dumb political correctness. But even from the inclusivity, you know, woke nonsense argument, it's still stupid because you're denying actual dwarves of representation. But here's Chad-based Hornswoggle in his response.
So
Check it out.
it's not a progression at all to me. My issue with it is exactly what you said. There are actors, dwarf actors, that live, that dream to be in a major motion picture, such as this Disney remake.
Sorry if the audio
and now,
was low.
because Peter Dinklage said what he said last year, now it's taken away, and it's taken away because of "quote unquote" progression and all that. And it's not right, because these are roles made for actors of my stature, roles that aren't ever really given. I can't go out for the Harrison Ford or the George Clooney roles because that's not for me. These dwarf roles are for people of my stature.
Right.
And now it's taken away. I don't feel that's right. And not only that, but now think about the additional stunt actors or body doubles or that. Now you're talking multiple actors of my stature that don't get these major roles. And why? What's the reasoning? Because we're supposed to be progressive and we're supposed to just not view them as that.
Well, you know, the irony.
These were heroes.
The
all
irony,
of these dwarves, all of these dwarves took care of Snow White.
Right.
They all had characteristics, separate characteristics. They weren't these cave-dwelling monsters that people speak of. They all had 7 different characteristics for 7 different actors that from my community, and I don't feel it's right that got taken away from us.
And utterly agree with you. And
so here you have the actual dwarf saying it's stupid, but here's the liberal now going to try to cope and justify
irony
it all. So let's
is
take
that
a
they
listen.
profess, these progressives, to want to do this to protect you, right? They protect dwarf actors from being, you know, somehow smeared. But you don't feel that way at all.
Peter Dinklage spoke up about this, and that was my issue. He had in the past no issue cashing checks that were made for dwarf roles like Elf and all of that. Yes, he blew away the barriers when he did his roles that weren't necessarily made for a dwarf. But the Elf role was made for a dwarf. That check cleared just fine.
And there's nothing wrong with that?
That he's gone and done that, the progression of dwarf actors, it just doesn't sit right with me.
No,
that this guy who is exactly what you said, what gave him the voice for all of our community?
Yeah,
why?
I was honest. I think
a complete hypocrite. Let me bring James back in. So
when
James,
Piers Morgan is agreeing with you, I think you need to be concerned. I'll say that for the.
So you're telling a dwarf actor what he should.
Oh gosh, Piers Morgan is agreeing with you. I mean, Piers Morgan, the centrist, the moderate guy who fence-sits, frankly, on a lot of different issues. When Piers Morgan is agreeing with you, I think you have a problem. Dude, you're the one just being ridiculous. You have an actual dwarf saying, A, it's not offensive, and B, it would actually be a good thing to put the dwarfs in the movie about dwarfs. And Piers Morgan is agreeing with it's so ridiculous. It's just not okay.
Hang on. Having literally just lectured me about speaking for someone in the dwarf community, Warwick Davis, you now accuse a dwarf actor.
No, it's not what I said. I said that if you're siding with anyone, you've got to worry. Right. What I'd like to say actually is that I kind of mostly agree with what you're saying. And
now
so you agree with Piers Morgan?
Sir, that's just taking a pot shot there.
No,
yes,
absolutely taking a pot shot. But I do agree with what you're saying. I completely agree with your point of view, and I think that's really important. But I can only speak from my experience, and as a gay man, I know that growing up, I witnessed gay people being villains in movies when I was...
Seven dwarves aren't villains.
Correct.
I think stereotypes are really important to
What stereotype do you think they represent?
In the universe of Snow White, wouldn't it be better if dwarves
This isn't a part of this about the stereotype.
Right.
This is about roles that were made for people of my stature that don't have the chance to go out for other roles normally.
But you, James, so you want to stop Dylan getting a role in a Hollywood film?
I am not going to get into an attack.
Yes, you do.
You don't want a dwarf actor to land a role playing a dwarf part.
Listen, a dwarf can play a dwarf part, but I think it's important to change narratives that don't fit in today's society. And really,
Which is that narrative?
It might be better if dwarves just exist in normal roles everywhere, because they do exist.
What was so bad
life.
about the way dwarves were depicted in Snow White? Have I missed something?
Well, listen, I'm not here to talk about...
That's what I'm kind of wondering as well.
So he doesn't... He's like... He doesn't even make any sense. He's saying, we need more dwarves, but also this movie about dwarves, we shouldn't put them... What are you talking? This guy just doesn't make any sense, okay? And really, he doesn't. And I think that's for a reason. He doesn't truly know what to say, because here he was hoping he'd come on the Piers Morgan show and just, be rah rah rah, liberal nonsense. Piers, you're evil, whatever. And they brought in this literal dwarf, okay? So it's not like you brought in a literal dwarf and the dwarf completely owned you. By the way, Mr. Liberal comedian, James Barr, whatever his name is, imagine losing a debate to a dwarf, okay? Now, I'm not being ableist or anything. I'm just saying the optics of that, okay? They're kind of quite hilarious. They're quite discrediting. Not saying, obviously, dwarves are... any less mentally or whatever different. I'm just saying the image of that, it is quite hilarious. How do you lose a debate to a dwarf? But,
represent Disney, but I'm just saying, I think I see their point of view.
What's their point of view? What was so bad about the depiction of the dwarf?
Why are you so upset about a movie changing with the times and moving forward?
Because I think that, honestly, with great respect...
there is real news we could be discussing.
No, but this is real news if you're a dwarf actor who are now out of work.
Correct.
Because of virtue-signaling idiots.
But you're just
who think that everything has to be rewritten to be inclusive,
as a cheap
when in
shot.
fact it's not inclusive at all.
No, you're using Dylan as a cheap shot to attack a wokey.
I don't think Dylan feels I'm using him as a cheap shot. And what I would say...
How is it a cheap shot? It's a real dwarf. And it's a real dwarf actor, by the way. That's Hornswoggle. Any of you WWE heads, you know who this is. No, this is a prominent dwarf actor. It's not a cheap shot considering it's his opinion. But, you bring an actual dwarf's opinion, it's a cheap shot. Oh, yeah, it's just because you woke gay guy just need to speak for everyone, right? Idiot.
About the wokey thing is this. I have spent the last year
embarrassing,
listening to people tell me only gay actors should play gay parts. Only Welsh actors, so Michael Sheen, should play Welsh characters. And so on, and so on, and so on. But the moment we have...
Well, that's not true, actually. If they're white characters, don't you know, Piers Morgan, they need to be played by black people, right? Don't you know that? Peter Pan needs to be Indian. The Lost Boys need to be black. Cleopatra, who is Greek, needs to be a black woman, apparently. George Washington, according to Hamilton, was black. But I do get his point. But I just want to point that out. It's different if it's a white character. But
dwarf roles, which are the most famous dwarf roles in Hollywood history, then the only people apparently who can't play them are dwarf actors.
Weren't dwarf
and I
roles.
see there
It's a cartoon,
stinking
Piers.
woke
So
hypocrisy.
It has not changed. It was a cartoon. Those weren't actually dwarfs in the movie. They were drawn, okay? So firstly...
They were
What difference
drawn
does that
as
make?
dwarfs.
No, that is...
But it's a story about dwarves, sir.
Dwarfs.
Well, they
It's a
shouldn't be
story
called that.
about
They should be
dwarves.
called...
They shouldn't be called
Yes.
dwarfs.
No, they should be called people with
They shouldn't be
dwarfism.
called.
What's wrong with being
They shouldn't
called
be called
dwarves?
dwarves.
Nothing, but that's not the correct
That's the
term.
story.
Dylan,
The story
apparently
is
you
literally
you're not
dwarves.
allowed to
No,
call
Dylan
yourself
can call
dwarf.
himself whatever.
Apparently, Dylan, you're not allowed to call yourself dwarfs, apparently.
I would love to hear, what should I call myself, sir?
I think you should call yourself whatever you feel comfortable with, but as a person...
He calls himself a dwarf.
by the way, he just had to come out and talk about how he was a gay guy. Just want to point that out. So
Well, that's
A
great.
dwarf.
then.
clearly,
Good for you.
identity
I'm
doesn't
happy
matter.
to
to
see
him.
So now, sir, let me pause that. So it shouldn't be called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It should
Listen,
just be
I
called
do not want to
Snow
get
White.
cancelled
So are
because
you
I
saying-
think your point of view is more important than mine right now. But what I'm annoyed about is Piers trying to take a cheap shot at someone that believes in society moving forward.
Yeah, I'm actually...
Bringing on a guy to have him explain his opinion when he's an actual dwarf, that is, of course, a cheap shot, right? This idiot liberal should just be allowed to come on and just spew his nonsense the whole time and talk about how he's a gay guy, therefore he knows about dwarves, apparently.
Because really, if
I'm actually exposing the hypocrisy of the
not-
woke mentality of only gay people can play gay parts, only trans actors can play trans parts, and so on and so on and so on.
I think we would
right
get
to the
to a
point,
place where
right to the
everyone
point,
can play
Snow
every
White and the
role.
Seven Dwarfs has to be cancelled because you're not allowed to have dwarf
you
actors.
should be happy,
Gay guy
Piers, because
gets
it means
owned
that
by
now you
dwarf.
can play
That's
your
what you're
dream role of
watching, yes.
Grumpy.
I would love to play Grumpy. I loved all the dwarves in that movie. They were great.
Sorry,
Let me ask
now
you,
you're being a hypocrite.
guys,
You'd love
here's-
to play
here's-
Grumpy, but
no,
you're
no,
taking
no,
a
no,
role
no.
away from a dwarf
The issue
actor.
at hand.
No.
It's a joke, Dingus. It's a joke made by a sarcastic comment you set up for him.
I would play a fully grown Grump quite happily.
By taking away a role from a
Let me
dwarf.
ask you, Dylan, about the Hugh Grant playing an Oompa Loompa, because again, it seems to me we've got a clip of him playing an Oompa Loompa. Let's have a look at this.
You're the funny little man who's been followed.
All right, this is going to get copyrighted, but let's skip more towards the end of the debate. Okay, we'll wrap this up. But
Heroes for this lady.
Yes.
And they take care and they take this lady in.
They save
so
her.
they're viewed so well to society.
They saved
that
the woman.
Now,
they're
Yes, they're
hardworking.
the good
they're
guys.
wealthy. They are kind. They are generous-hearted. It's hard to think of a more positive
And so to go-
narrative about any people
go-
at all.
Well, let's just go back to the 1930s, Piers. I think you'd be happy
You
there.
know what, James?
Blackface-
1930s, Piers. Piers, if you like a story from the 1930s, apparently you're literally a Nazi. Don't you know that's when Hitler rose to power? Piers Morgan. He's a woke gay guy.
Face would exist still.
No,
It's not
it's not
about-
blackface.
James,
it's not
James, it's not
blackface.
about going
And
back
what
to
you're now
1930s.
doing
This is
is
black.
you
No, I'll tell you. He compares it to blackface. He actually compares it to blackface. Okay, you know what would be similar to blackface? Having normal sized people play dwarves, right? Why do they say blackface is so bad? Oh, well, it's offensive because it's like white people trying to portray themselves like black people. Okay, so wouldn't the opposite? So the opposite of blackface is just putting a black person, a real black person, as the character, right? So by that very logic, then, okay, then what you should do, that's dwarf face. Okay, this is dwarf face, because what you should be doing, right, is putting a actual dwarf as a dwarf instead of wearing dwarf face. It's so stupid. Last 2 minutes here.
You know
It's
you've
so
lost,
stupid.
you know you've lost the argument.
No, there's no argument.
And you know
here.
you've been
You're-
embarrassed by
James,
the
you're
argument.
not
said it.
embarrassed.
You
You're
are
just
embarrassed.
saying
Just said
an
it.
argument that
James,
doesn't
hold
exist.
on,
You are.
guys.
We
Hold
agree
on,
with each
please.
other.
Please.
All right. You know what? You do agree with him
James,
now
but
because you
James,
realise
you
the
can't-
futility of your argument.
James, you can't.
Yeah, because he
go
looks like
and
an
go,
idiot. He just looks like an idiot.
Oh, you got to go back to 1930s.
No.
James, if you agree with what I'm saying, you
I
can't
agree with what
get
you're
on
saying. I
Pierce's
don't agree
case
with
and say-
anything that Piers.
Yeah, here's the thing, Dylan. Dylan, just to
He
be clear.
he literally just said what
Yeah,
I said, James.
Dylan, just to be clear, he doesn't agree when I say it, but when you say it, he agrees.
Because you're not
And
a dwarf.
That right now, I'm not a dwarf, no. But that right there is
You have a dwarf on the screen, and he's calling you an idiot. So
the hypocrisy of the woke brigade. Dylan,
Okay. So let me
just say, Dylan, I've got to let you go,
Pierce,
unfortunately.
Real quickly, please. Pierce, quickly.
Final word, Dylan.
Pierce, James, let me ask you this. So if a writer writes a piece on what I'm saying, is it wrong of them? Because essentially, that's the same as the words coming out of my mouth.
What? Yeah, but you're not saying that I am a woke hypocrite, and Piers is, and that's what I disagree with. Because I'm absolutely not. So when I'm saying that I agree with you, it's nothing to do with your...
We're going to leave it there. Just to be clear, Dylan, he disagrees with what I say, but when you say exactly the same thing, he completely agrees with it.
You're so annoying.
Is James Barr right to a T. Dylan,
nonsense.
Fantastic having you on Piers Morgan Uncensored. You did such a brilliant job in highlighting why this is so
Let's
ridiculous.
go, Hornswoggle.
Shame on Disney. And I hope you get another brilliant role very soon. I really do.
Well, I hope so too, and I hope that this really kind of resounds with how I feel.
Yeah.
And I don't speak for the whole dwarf culture and community, but this is literally how I feel.
Piers Morgan speaks for the entire dwarf community.
I've got to leave it there, Dylan.
You're the one, James Barr, who think you speak for the entire dwarf community. All right, anyways, guys, there is the Piers Morgan. I don't have much to say on it because Hornswoggle basically said it all. The woke gay liberal guy is just an idiot. Like, what else is there to say? He's just spewing nonsense the whole time. Hornswoggle brings up the 100%. Now, my argument more so, like, forget dwarf or no dwarf. My argument is just it's stupid. You know, oh, it's offensive. Who cares? But even then, okay, my stupid conservatism aside, whatever. Hornswoggle is completely right. Because the dwarf is a real character, right? Dwarves are real people. And you're screwing over, yes, when you think about it, dwarf actors like him by casting them as regular people, right? You're actually erasing dwarves. You're doing the equivalent of dwarf blackface, like James Barr says. So, you know, just an idiot. Like I said, not much else to say other than how do you get humiliated and embarrassed in a debate so badly by an actual dwarf? Okay, Hornswoggle, we love Hornswoggle. Come on, James. Come on, James. Absolute embarrassment. Anyways, before we move on here in the show, let's get caught up on our super chats, ladies and gentlemen. So, Sheeny Beanie here for $2 says, light brown and the 7 average height men. This is true. This is true. We have snow black in the 7 men. That sounds like a... Okay, I'm not going to say the rest. All right, Christopher for $5 says, on the topic of Disney, they're losing a lot of money from their movies and decline in turnout at their parks. Do you think Disney will collapse? Thank you for the $5, Christopher. I don't know. I mean, I've heard that the Disney park attendance is basically the same. So I don't know. I mean, I know I heard that one... I saw this one post saying... Oh, Disney had a drop-off in attendance on this Saturday, and they showed one picture, but other people were saying it was packed, and, you know, it's the summertime, it was really hot that day, whatever. So, I definitely think Disney's losing business overall, don't get me wrong, but I think overall, you know, they might contract a little bit. I don't see them having a Bud Light-style collapse, because... maybe this unfortunate, but I think there's too many Americans out there that are too reliant on Disney stuff, right? The thing about the boycott, the Bud Light thing, is that it was such an easy boycott, obviously, you know, because who drinks Bud Light? Bud Light's not good. There's alternatives that are literally better than Bud Light, so overall, who cares, right? But Disney... I'm not a Disney head. I'm not, but there's so many people who are addicted to all the things that Disney does. And also Disney has such a monopoly on pop culture, which is hard because they've bought up everything. They bought Lucasfilm. They bought Marvel, I believe, right? They own such a huge share of all the different entertainment stuff. There's such a monopoly that it's going to be really hard to fight them without getting a lot of average normal Americans to just step up and say, I'm not going, right? I know so many tapped in political conservatives, activist types, all of that stuff, who still this year went to Disney World, you know? So it's like, what realistically, what are we going to do? It's difficult. It's hard. So, you know, like I said, I think they're definitely hurting a little bit, but I don't think they're going to catastrophically collapse in like some of these other companies because it's just not enough people, in my opinion, are just going to give them up. You know, it's like there's still so many parents that want to take their kids to Disney World and this and that and all of that. And so I don't know if it'll be enough. Truthfully, I don't know if it'll be enough overall. So, all right, let's move on here. If we got no more super chats, but again, guys, if you do want a super chat to support the show, I will read them periodically. Feel free to send in any questions, obviously, that you have. But let's move on here to kind of our later stories of the night. All right, I'm just going to do this one for reporting purposes, okay? Let me be clear. I'm not here to, spread theories or anything like that. It kind of just happened. It'd probably be insensitive of me to do so. But I'm just reporting the news here, okay? It is up to you. Let me be clear, editorially. It is 100% up to you to draw your own conclusions. I am not suicidal. I would never kill myself. But I'm simply here to inform you that today, the chef of the Obama White House, and now the chef of the Obama family, he followed them after his presidency, allegedly a very close family friend, has drowned while paddleboarding, allegedly, and was not wearing a life vest. Police are saying there is no foul play suspected. So basically, someone close to the Obama family passed away. It is tragic. Our prayers are obviously with his family and all of that. But, I'm just here to report that. I'm simply here to report the news on this front. Like I said, not here to speculate about anything, but the guy was a very athletic swimmer and all of that stuff, believe it or not. And allegedly the story is he drowned in a pond. It was not the ocean. It was actually a pond or a lake. And I think they said he drowned in about 8 feet of water, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of the story here. Just sharing you the details. Okay. You decide what you want to decide. I'm not saying anything. I would never kill myself. Okay. One thing I do want to point out here is this last line. Campbell is not the first former White House chef to die by drowning. In June 2015, Walter Scheib, an executive chef at the White House for Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, drowned while hiking at a trail in Taos, New Mexico. So, I'm just simply here to report. Again, not saying anything, just informing of the story of the day. Again, Obama's chef has died by drowning, allegedly in 8 feet of water. The former chef of Clinton and Bush also has died by drowning. And that's all I'm here to say. That's all I'm here to say. I mean, it's like I said, that's it. That's it. I'm just reporting the news. I'm reporting events that happen. Okay. All I'm here to say. All right, last thing of the night here, and then we will go on to Super Chats. Let's close this night on a kind of semi-comical note here. So, as you may have heard, Elon Musk has rebranded Twitter to X. Now, think what you will of the X rebrand. I'm actually in support of it. I don't really care. And, I don't know if it's smart marketing or not, or it'll work out or not. But I just simply know that it's absolutely driven the liberals insane. And I kind of laugh at it for that very reason. And that's what's very interesting about Elon Musk as a whole. Because I'm not the biggest, frankly, Elon Musk supporter, right? I definitely think he's better than all the other tech billionaires, and I appreciate obviously everything he's done at Twitter and all that, but in many ways I would say as a conservative, I'm not the biggest Elon Musk worshiper or cultist or whatever, because first of all, you look at something like Tesla. Sure, Tesla is a cooler version of the Prius. Obviously, if I were to drive an electric car, if I was forced at gunpoint by the government to drive an electric car, I'd rather drive a Tesla. So thank you, Elon Musk, for at least making the green revolution not incredibly just stupid and effeminate the whole time. But still, regardless, it's still the green revolution. It's still electric vehicles, right? So there's that. There's something like Neuralink, right? This whole idea to transhumanize, to implant chips in our brains that Elon Musk wants to do. Not a fan of that. Elon Musk is a godfather of AI. Not a fan of that, even though he's more responsible about it than the other tech billionaires. So that's what's very interesting, first and foremost, is that as a conservative, I appreciate a lot of the stuff Elon has done. I would rather have him in charge of the digital revolution than someone like Zuckerberg or these other people, because at least he'll make it semi-cool. He'll make the future cool instead of dystopian, but in a way it'll still be dystopian. But point being, overall, I'm not the biggest deep down Elon Musk supporter, but the way that the left absolutely melts down at him on a regular basis, frankly, makes me want the guy to not just be president. I want him to be king of the world, okay? Ironically speaking, the way they react, okay? Please, Elon, send us to space. Send us into the space age. We'll build a colony for the liberals on Mars, and where they can just live there and leave us all alone. And, you know, that's truly the way I feel. It's kind of funny. These people make me truly want to root for Elon, even though that's not my natural instinct as kind of a conservative in many ways. But regardless, all right, let's get into the story here. So, this was an actual tweet from, I believe this is a state representative or a city councilwoman in Michigan or something like that. But this is the new X logo here. Okay, so you see this right here on your left. That's the logo for X, the new Twitter rebrand. So here's what she says. She says, I had a visceral reaction seeing a hashtag X on my Twitter feed today. I said I would ride Twitter until I died. Perhaps finally, sadly, it just did. And then here's what she goes on to say. The image on the right is the German Nazi Zeppelin Corps flag. Come on, Elon Musk. Really? So this is the argument that people are making. That logo there on your left, it's just an X. Apparently, they're saying Elon Musk was trying to copy the German Nazi Zeppelin Corps flag, okay? Which, first and foremost, let me just say, they don't even look the same, okay? Is a similarity literally just that they're an X? Yeah, newsflash, there's a lot of different X's out there. But you look at the shape, the tone, like, they're not even the same X, first and foremost. So that's one reason why it's so stupid. Reason number two why it's so stupid, Elon, if he was really such a Nazi, you could have just copied the swastika, okay? Because that's the Nazi symbol people know. I've never heard of the Zeppelin Corps. I've certainly never seen this flag, but I'm sure this is exactly what Elon Musk was copying when he made an X that looked totally different and was not even the same shape of X. But then, of course, number three, right? Have you never seen the flag of Scotland? Have you never seen I forget which saint. Is it St. Peter or St. Andrew? I think it's St. Andrew, right? That's what the cross is meant to represent. That is, the cross of so many different European flags out there. The Nazis were not the first to use that. It's so ridiculous. If anything, it looks more like, I forget all the different countries that use it, right? Scotland, Finland, I think, has one like that. I forget them all, right? There's a bunch of European flags that have the X. But then, even further, you would think at the very least it would be 1% less dumb, although it would still be very dumb. It would be 1% less dumb to at least compare this to the Confederate flag, because that's the famous quote-unquote evil X that everyone knows about, right? Oh, the Confederacy. But instead of just going with the Confederacy, she spreads the ridiculous conspiracy theory that this obscure flag of a Nazi army regiment, the Zeppelin Corps, some type of elite, combat unit or whatever, truly Elon Musk was taking inspiration from this obscure Nazi flag that no one's even ever seen before until you. That's the reason that he rebranded to X and chose the logo that he did. Absolutely ridiculous, okay? Just probably the dumbest tweet I've seen maybe this entire year, frankly. It might actually go. We've reacted to a lot of dumb tweets this year, but that actually might take the cake as number one. So, all right, guys. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up all the main regular news stories I had for you guys tonight. So we will now move on to Super Chats. So questions, comments, Q&A, anything you want to send into the stream here. We are now open via the Super Chats. You can send them in here, obviously, on YouTube or over on Streamlabs. So, yeah, we move on to our Q&A portion here, chat interactions. So, yeah, we're now open. So let me know, and let's do this now, okay? All right, here we go. We got a $2 Super Chat here from Lord Clayton, who says, here we go. Rochelle Riley is a columnist for Black Rights. Okay, so there's the answer. She presented herself on Twitter like a local politician, but I guess if she's just a columnist, then okay, she's just a columnist. But yeah, that was her who tweeted it. So thank you for the $2. Thank you for letting us know. So there you go. There's the ambassador of apparently black issues, and I guess that's what she speaks for, and that's what she is representing. I don't know. I suppose so. Thank you for the $2, Lord Clayton. Again, we are open now for questions, comments, super chats. Tom Orca says, evening, this chef that died may be part Nebraska Boys Ranch connected to the Bushes. I have no idea what that is, T Marker. I'm just speculating on the news and commenting on the news. So, you know, there you go. All right, Michael says, it's literally just the flag of the guys who made the Hindenburg Zeppelin. Well, you know, Michael, don't you know, if there's an X, that's literal. You're literally a Nazi, okay? If you have an X in anything, you're a Nazi. So Christians... You know, it's St. Andrew, right? Someone correct me, right? If Christians, you put the symbol of St. Andrew. Don't you know that's Nazism? Forget it. Any intersection of lines, okay? Even the regular cross. You're a Nazi. Okay, you're a Nazi. All right? Do you stop at an intersection? Nazi. Huh? Don't you know Hitler had a flag with an X on it? So if you drive and you stop at an intersection, you know who else did that? Hitler. True. This is true. This is true. Dollar for $2 says, plug in my Tesla. Maybe I'll get an erection one day. Thank you for the $2, dollar for dollar. It is true. Yes, yes. You and I know the reference, and it is true. It is true. Oh, plug in my Tesla. Oh, Tesla. Teslas are for nerds, okay? And don't get me wrong, I understand what is quote unquote cool about them. I mean, they're fast. It's like driving a spaceship. But I'm sorry. Yes, when we're all forced to buy electric cars, I'll take the Tesla over the Prius. But realistically, nothing will beat a combustion car. Okay? And I think it is a political statement to fight to preserve the combustion engine at all costs. And this is really true. All right, here we go. Burgundy Blue with a big $20 super chat who says, Vince, I'm a super history nerd, and even I never heard of the Zeppelin Corps and its flag. I know what the Saarland Protectorate was, never heard of it. Exactly my point. If even I don't know it, you know it's obscure. Well, thank you for the $20, Burgundy Blue, and this is exactly my point. That is exactly how obscure it is, okay? No one has ever heard of this in our... We've never heard of the Zeppelin Corps, okay? Much less has anyone ever seen that flag. But surely that's what Elon Musk was copying. Don't you guys know? Don't you guys know? Thank you for the $20. God bless you. Big super chat from Burgundy Blue. Team Orca says fast cars are dangerous. Fast cars are not dangerous. Bad drivers are dangerous, okay? Bad drivers are dangerous. I'd also argue that slow drivers can be incredibly dangerous. You know, you drive too slow, you're basically you're asking to get rear-ended, and this is very true. CJ says, "Hey Vince, how did it feel when you were debating the other Asians on Vice?" I really was just in my element. I don't know, you know, when I'm in like high pressure, not like the stream, but high pressure media situations, a lot of times I just kind of just switch on this mode, and it's just, I don't know. I was in my element. I was having fun. It was honestly really fun. You know? I don't know what else to say about it. I expected their crazy reactions. I knew that was going to happen going in. You observe the behavior in the green room. I knew it was going to happen. And, you know, I didn't necessarily expect Zayed to go absolutely crazy like he did, whatever. But also partially, if I were to be totally real with you, part of the reason I seem so non-responsive to their crazy reactions is because I really wasn't focused on them. Because I knew I was on Vice. I knew my whole focus was get your words across and your thoughts across clearly, because they're going to try to cut up and slander and take out of context and ruin whatever you say, right? So really what I was thinking, I wasn't really even paying attention to their crazy reactions, which kind of comes off funny in retrospect, because you see me just very calm and they're just... But realistically, I actually wasn't really paying attention to their mannerisms or craziness, because I was really hyper-focused on what they were saying and what I was saying, because... I knew the situation I was in. I knew I had to be super observant and keen and careful with every word, because I knew I was on Vice, right? And a lot of people at the time were like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't even go on Vice because they're going to cut you up. And I knew that, which is why, you know, I was really just focused and lasered in on the things I was saying the whole time. So truthfully, I didn't really notice. I kind of knew, but I wasn't really consciously thinking about how crazy they were being emotionally until afterwards. But obviously it made for good content, did it not? So dollar for $2 says, how much money for you to take liquid heroin? Thank you for the $2, dollar for dollar. Would never do it. Would never do it. I ain't no pay pig. I'm not a circus clown. Oh, just pay me and then I'll do this. I'll kill myself for a challenge. It's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Dollar for dollar. Thank you for the 2. But you know, can't say it's in the cards. Can't really say it's in the cards, you know. Not gonna pretend to be totally innocent on the Vice front, but in terms of Vices, not Vice News. But one thing I can say, I've never done drugs. I have not. I've never done drugs. I've never smoked weed. I've never vaped. Okay. Never done any of that stuff. Drank alcohol, smoked cigars. That's all. That's it. That's it. And I plan to keep it that way because I feel like that's traditional. You know. The men of old, you know, they drink whiskey, they smoke cigars. It's fine. It's cool. But all this other nonsense, the LSDs, oh, bro, I find myself. You know, if you need to take psychedelics, frankly, to zone yourself out from the regular world, then you just live a lame, depressing life. Same thing with weed. I'm so creative when I'm on weed. Well, then you're not creative to begin with, right? Because if you were truly a creative person, you wouldn't need marijuana to... Oh, bro, I'm so creative, bro. Bro, look at this thing I scribbled. I made a song about hippie nonsense. I'm so creative, bro. So, it's true. It's true. And I would even say the same about alcohol. Like, obviously, I've had alcohol, you know, like most college-age kids have. But if you have to drink, I would say the same thing about alcohol. If you have to drink to, like, forget or remove yourself from the regular world, then you just live a depressing life. And, you know, that's how it is, right? It's one thing to have a few in social context. I mean, I think that's fine, right? But to kind of use it as a crux for life to avoid the real world, very against that. Very against that. It's frankly very cringe. Good, it hurts the body. It does. It does. So, no. I don't smoke weed. I smoke raisins instead. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. But let's see here. Vince, when you were debating on Vice, you looked presentable wearing a suit, and all the others were just wearing God knows what. Yeah, it is true, Jake. It is. By the way, that was intentional, because I knew I was going on to Vice, so I knew everyone was going to dress like a hippie. And so I was like, well, I think if you wear a suit, you differentiate yourself. Because I wanted to be the guy who kind of stood out from the crowd, because I knew the situation I was in. And so it was all tactical, okay? It was all tactical. I truly did think out a lot of that stuff beforehand, hence why it did make for great content. Now, I'll be honest, I did not expect it to be as big as it was, but, you know, I definitely, it was all very careful and calculated. All right, let's see here. Burgundy Blue for $5. Can we get the sound effect? Get it refresh, please? All right, no sound effect. Burgundy Blue for $5 says, Vince, whatever you do not click this link. I'm going to click I'm not going to show it on screen, but now I'm going to click this link because that obviously means that you should click this link. All right, very interesting. Thank you for the $5, dollar for dollar. It was we're gonna move on. All right, Burgundy Blue. Sorry, not dollar for dollar. Okay, here we go. Dollar for $2 says, do a grind my gears segment. Thoughts on Futurama? I honestly have not watched Futurama, so I have no idea. I really don't have thoughts on it. All I know about Futurama is the one character with the one eye. I will do a grind my gears segment on this, however, is the Barbie movie. And specifically, not, oh, the movie's so woke, or, oh, the movie actually secretly is good because it makes patriarchy look like a good thing. You're all wrong, okay? The correct take is that there is no reason, frankly, a conservative man should be watching the Barbie movie to begin with. And you might think I'm trying to take a shot at Ben Shapiro with that. But frankly, I understand him seeing it more than some of you. Because at least he can say, oh, it was a business decision, right? It's part of my, I was doing this review of the Barbie movie. It was a thing. It was a bit. Okay, fine, whatever. Honestly, whatever. I actually think that's less bad than what some of you were doing, which is you have no incentive. You just went and watched a movie. You are a man watching a Barbie movie. Oh, but Vince, my date wanted me to. My girlfriend wanted me to. Duh, duh, duh. So you're a simp is what you're saying? Okay. So you let a girl drag you to sit through the Barbie movie. Disavow. Okay. You are no follower of mine. Just kidding. But no, in all seriousness, okay. You know what you can say? You can say, babe, I don't want to see that. Let's see something else. Okay. I'll say that. Okay. Or you say, Vince, that's why you don't have a girlfriend. Well, you are right that I do not. But I did have a girl. I will say this, and sources can verify this. I literally did have a girl ask me out on a date because she said, let's go see the Barbie movie. I literally said no. I said, I'm not seeing it. I just turned her down. Why? It's not a simp. Okay. All of you who got dragged to the Barbie movie because my girlfriend wanted to. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Like, say no. That's like, there's some places where, okay, if she wants to go, then she can go with her female friends. Why are you getting dragged to that? Okay. And then forget that. Some of you, it's not even because a date or a girlfriend or a wife were involved. You just went and saw the movie. You went and watched a Barbie movie. And then even further, if for some reason you had no shame about it, and you took to the internet, to Twitter, to tell us either a positive or negative review about the Barbie movie. Oh, it was actually good because it defended patriarchy. It was actually bad. No, I agree. It was woke. Why did you see the movie to begin with? No conservative man should be seeing that movie, frankly, for any reason. I stand by that take. Oh, but my daughter, okay, the one thing I'll say is, okay, if it was really you were being a dad to your daughter or something, then I would say, okay, maybe. Although I would still say it's not a kid's movie. It's a PG-13 movie, to my understanding. So it's not something you should take a little kid to. So your teenage daughter, I mean, she can go with her friends. I think that's just fine. So I don't know if that's even an excuse. But just overall, like, why are conservative men even watching a movie about It's Barbie. It's Barbie. Why? Like, why are you even watching the movie? I don't understand. And then the amount of lack of shame you have to admit to the rest of the world that you went and watched the movie, you might as well just put out, I'm a Barbie girl. You might as well just do it. Just come out, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Okay? Let me just say that. I don't understand why so many allegedly right-wing conservative men think what you will. You like the movie, you dislike it, woke, not woke. Why did you watch it? Bro, but I watched for Ryan Gosling. I'm sorry, that's not an excuse. Okay, there's a lot of other Ryan Gosling movies you could watch. I don't buy that. I don't buy that excuse. I really don't. Because yeah, I get it. Ryan Gosling's in the movie. You didn't watch it for Ryan Gosling. That's just cope. That's just cope and fallacy. I stand by this. I stand by this. There's no reason any of you, especially men in my audience, should be watching a Barbie movie. Okay? And, you can say whatever you want. You can say, Vince, you don't get it. Vince, what about Ryan Gosling? Vince, you're just insecure. You're insecure about your masculinity. No, I just don't want to watch a Barbie movie. I just don't. Even before the woke stuff, I never cared to see it. A month ago, right? A month ago is like when, okay, I was asked. I said, no, I don't. Why would I want to? It's a Barbie. Why would I want to see that? So I don't understand some of you. Okay, just very questionable decision making, frankly. Frankly, it's a little bit sus. It's a little suspect. Get it together, guys. Get it together, okay? I'm just sorry. There's no excuse to see that movie. If you're a man, there's just no reason you should be seeing it. And if you did see it, don't tell the rest of the world, okay? You come out of that theater saying, no, guys, because I heard this. No, guys, you don't get it. It actually makes the patriarchy look good. It's actually a good movie because it's on our side. I don't care. Why did you watch the movie? Okay? That's a deflection. That is a cope because, yeah, I sat through a Barbie movie, but it was actually a good thing because the message was right-wing. You still sat through a Barbie movie. So you're not living that down, frankly. All right, let's move on here to our further super chats. There's your grind your gear segment, dollar for dollar. I actually forgot. I said I was going to talk about that tonight, and I forgot. So there you go. There's your grind my gear segment. Conservatives who, for some reason, are watching the movie to begin with. There's just no reason, okay? There's no reason, all right? All right, here we go. All right, moving on here. Zachary for $5 says, you know what's cooler than driving an electric car? Driving a stick. Just got a stick if you want to take me up on that lesson, by the way, Vince. Thank you for the $5, Zachary. I mean, I don't know if realistically I will ever be in Washington State, but if I am in Washington State, you can teach me how to drive stick. I mean, my dad actually knows how to drive stick, but he doesn't have a stick, so he's never able to teach me. But thank you for the $5, Zachary. I appreciate it. God bless you. Dollar for $2 says Barbie has no storyline. Probably. I don't know. I didn't see. Yeah, that's my thing too. Vince, do you think Barbie is woke or secretly conservative? My answer is I didn't watch the movie because I'm not a girl. Okay? All right? Do you guys not have the childhood shame? Do you remember what it was like as a young boy? Like the connotation, maybe it's different now because everyone's gay, but back then, I did not want to be within 5 feet of a Barbie doll because then I would be, oh, you were the Barbie, I was like, no, I would never touch Barbie, right? Don't even, like, it was, like Muslims with the pork. That's how I was with Barbie growing up. I was like, literally touching that makes me unclean, okay? And that's how it was growing up, because what happened if you were a guy with Barbie? You got made fun of, okay? So all that stuff when I was little, it still stands now, So maybe I just never grew up. I don't know. But, I still see it the same way. Why are you watching the Barbie movie? You're a guy. You're a guy. It's a pink chick movie, okay? It's like being a guy and watching Sex in the City. I frankly think it's no different. I don't care. It is no different than sitting down and watching Sex in the City. Okay? It's just not. It's just not. So, Dirty Mike, this is slanderous. He says Vince obviously went to the Barbie movie the first day. See, that is cope. That is cope because you went to see the Barbie movie. It's just true. It is just true. Let's take a look. Maybe someone will see it to see how bad it is and make a review. Well, Ben Shapiro did that. So that's why I actually said, I know everyone's going to think it's an anti-Ben Shapiro segment. He's the one person who, at least he can say, I did it for like a business reason. So I actually think he semi gets a pass. Who I don't think gets a pass are the people who just went and saw it. You are way, you're way lower on this totem pole than Ben is, okay? And I mean that sincerely, okay? At least he can say, I did it for business. What did you do it for? Because you wanted to see the Barbie movie. Suspect. Something's off there. Zix says, what's up, man? What's up? Zix? What is up? Good to see you. At least in the Napoleon movie, it's going to be 2.5 hours instead of 1.5 to 2. See, it's nice that it's a thing, but yeah, you are right. I think the Napoleon movie is probably going to vastly oversimplify it and just portray him in a very cliche context, But, if you go and watch the Napoleon movie, I'm not going to hate on you. Like, okay, go watch it. Like, that's not a problem to me, okay? I'm not being this... Believe it or not, now, for the record, I've not seen a movie since Top Gun 2, right? But I'm not this moralist about it. How dare you at all ever see a Hollywood movie? You're supporting the enemy. Da-da-da-da, right? But, there's a difference between watching Napoleon or Oppenheimer, which I have criticisms of the Oppenheimer thing, too, because, but whatever. Well, that's just... It doesn't matter. Who cares? If you watch the movie, that's not a problem. But you're gonna watch Barbie, guys? You're gonna watch Barbie, okay? Sound of Freedom is in the theaters, which actually that's a movie I'm gonna watch in the theater soon. And you're watching Barbie. I don't know, guys. So, you don't like the Barbie girl song? No. Frankly, I do not. You like the Barbie girl song? Sus. No, I mean, honestly, okay, I get it. It's a catchy song, whatever. But watching the Barbie movie and posting about it is the equivalent of literally recording yourself lip syncing to the song and putting it on TikTok. So just consider that. Frankly, just consider that. Why watch a movie when you can watch 5 episodes of Family Guy? I mean, this is just real. This is just real, you know? Why watch a movie when you can watch The Vince Dow Show, right? So, you know. Lol, Vince is on us for the Barbie thing. I am ashamed. I am ashamed of the amount of just dudes who went and watched the movie. And I want to hear, okay, all right, let's do this. Everyone who saw the Barbie movie, who's a man? Okay, if you're a girl, I give you a pass because it's Barbie, okay? If you're a man, I want you to hear why did you see the Barbie movie? I want to hear your excuse. I'm going to explain to you why your excuse is ridiculous, okay? The girlfriend wanted to see it. She can go see it. Why did you go with her? Okay? I mean, I'm just... You know, you guys can go see any other movie. You can make a compromise. You can say, babe, we can see something else. I don't want to see that. But, I don't know. You guys are scared of putting your foot down once in the relationship. You know? How do you think that marriage would turn out, by the way? All right? Let's actually do a detail. I can explain to you the slippery slope about how allowing your woman to drag you to the Barbie movie will lead to a failed marriage, okay? Because if she's able to boss you around on something and just control you essentially and emasculate you on such a simple thing as, no, babe, I don't want to see the Barbie movie with you. How do you think that's going to translate to important life decisions, right? Are you going to be the man of that household? No, you're not. You're setting a bad precedent. Frankly, I don't know if you can come back from it. It's just true. It's true, okay? If you could not put your foot down at least for once and say, I don't want to see Barbie, then that marriage is not going to succeed. You're screwed. You are screwed. Okay, long term, you are screwed. You might as well just walk out of their relationship, frankly, because you've set a precedent where she can control you to such a ridiculous degree that she can force you to go for 2 hours in a theater and watch a movie about Barbie, okay? So how do you think that's going to translate to actual life decisions, fellas? This is true. You think I'm being ridiculous? You think I love you and I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help all you guys, okay? This is real. Because you know, all you guys who got dragged by your girls too, deep down, you know you didn't want to see that movie. You know you didn't. I get, oh, but Vince, sometimes you do stuff for the other one for the other person that you don't really care about. Yes, I get it. Okay, I get it. I've been in many relationships. Okay, yes, you sit down and you listen to them complain about this or do that or go to this place with them. Fine. That's all fine. Okay? But you're a dude being dragged into a Barbie movie. Like, that's a humiliation ritual, right? It's one thing to say, oh, you know, you're more interested in this. I don't really care for it, but because I love you, you know, you're my partner, we'll do it. Fine. Okay, fine. Yeah. Go to the pumpkin patch or something, okay? Because something, okay, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But you let her put you through a humiliation ritual of being a man sitting in a movie theater watching a movie about Barbie. And you're just like, oh, well, you know, happy wife, happy life. No, you are getting emasculated. You're getting wrecked and you don't even see it. You don't even see it. Okay? I'm not advocating to be controlling or like just this, that. I'm literally just saying there are points in life as a man where you have to set your own boundary. And if she can humiliate you to witness that crap, then you don't have boundaries. And she's going to walk all over you for the rest of your life. And that is simply a fact. And all of those who listen to me are going to have way happier lives with happier families than those who don't. And this is simply true. This is simply true. Okay? So, you know. Polish person edit says, I'm a liberal, start ranting. Shoot. Well, you're a liberal and you just made me spill my water all over the desk. So thank you, liberal. Thank you, Polish person rants. How dare you? It was literally sabotage, okay? It was literally sabotage. I was going to read his chat. Now there's water on the desk. All right, let's try to wipe this up, okay? There. There. All right. It's not an ideal situation, but it'll have to do for now. Polish person edits. Why don't you send me an email at vincedao@gmail.com and you can just call in. You can just call in, and that'll probably be more fun. Or you just want the clip? Haha, you're a stupid liberal. How dare you? All right, anyways, got a super chat here. Burgundy Blue for $5. By the way, last call for super chats. We're probably going to wrap up here in like 5 to 10 minutes. So last call. Burgundy Blue for $5 says, sing to the tune of Barbie Girl. I'm not singing to the tune of Barbie Girl. After that whole rant, we're just not going to do it. But that's a Fed post. I'm not getting hate speech TOS'd, okay? People can do it in their heads, all right? Thank you for the $5, Burgundy Blue. I'm not getting TOS'd on that one, but thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. Polish person edit says deal. What's the email again? All right, here. TV.com. All right, there. You can send me an email. I mean, we might not do it tonight, but we could arrange it for sure. Okay. All right. Again, guys, last call here for super chats. But let's take a look here. I haven't gone to a theater since Endgame came out in 2019. This is real. This is real. Any guy who saw it is coping so hard. Just watch Ben Shapiro's review. It's good. Literally, it's good enough. Yes. Correct. But I had so many of you nerds on Twitter going on about how it's actually right-wing. This is the argument I've been hearing in defense. It's like, yeah, it's kind of satirical because it makes Barbie actually looks kind of stupid and it kind of vindicates the patriarchy, and that's why it's good. It's a good movie. No. You can't get. You're not gonna just get away with that, okay? Oops, hold on. I'm trying to like not let the mixer get soaked in water, so you'll have to excuse me. Okay. Yeah, but you watched the Barbie. Like, why did you go into the theater and watch the movie? Because also, realistically, a lot of you guys saw it on day 1 or day 2. You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that from anyone. You were just like, oh, there's a Barbie movie. I want to watch it. So consider the levels of this decision making here. So you can walk out coping because you watched the Barbie movie and you want to find a reason to justify it and say, well, actually, it was right wing because, dude, you walked into a Barbie movie and you watched it. Many of you on opening day. So that's not an excuse. Because before you knew what the movie was about, you walked in and watched a Barbie movie. Okay, a Barbie movie. You might as well drink Bud Light. In fact, I would argue seeing the Barbie movie is worse. But, you know, that's just my take. That's just my take on it, frankly. So this is true. This is true. Okay? And I'm correct. I'm correct. I'm trying to see if there's anyone in the live chat trying to defend. It doesn't really seem to be the case. It just seems to be that everyone is actually just in agreement. See, we are the majority. We are the majority. We truly are. So this goes to show. Most of the conservative base out there is thinking the same thing as me, to you minority of Twitter users who are, I'm a conservative and I watched a movie and here's what I think. Why did you watch the movie? It's true. It's true. Let us all unite against these nerds, okay? All right, by the way, be sure to get these stream to 100 likes. And yeah, but dollar for dollar, I know Bud Light does that, but I'd argue watching the Barbie movie does the same exact thing. So, and at least Bud Light is not pink, okay? At least Bud Light's not pink. So, you know, do a poll. All right, let's do a poll. I already know we're going to win this poll, but do a poll, okay? So, let's see. Okay. Should a man watch the Barbie movie? Yes, no. I literally know we're gonna sweep this. Okay, because everyone actually agrees. Everyone agrees because it's common sense. All you nerds want to justify it because I wanted to see Barbie. I wanted to watch Ryan Gosling. Look at that. 92% said no. What is there to say? What is there to say? You know, it's true. It's true. You know? Seeing Twitter roll with the Ken's patriarchy, though, haha. Yeah, but that's cope because they watched it. Because they watched it. All right? 79% are saying no. All right, whatever 20%, you know, we need to, you know, I think this is an utmost important question. I think, frankly, at some point, we need to arrange a call-in debate to debate the Barbie question, okay? Because I frankly, I think this is tantamount to the future of the country. Because, you know, you may vote Republican and be conservative and all this stuff, but are you really a political ally of mine if you're a guy who watched a Barbie movie? You know, I think this is a question that the entire conservative movement needs to answer. And frankly, we should get every influencer should be sent out like a questionnaire, a Barbie questionnaire on this. And, you know, like Tucker Carlson style, like NRA style, whatever. And make every candidate for office, make every media figure, make everyone answer this, again, very important question, okay? Which is it acceptable for a man to watch Barbie? Okay? Even barstool conservatives would condemn watching Barbie. Well, Mr. Sveeves, that brings up a good point, which is that the barstool conservatives in many ways are, you know, as much as they want to say it's not like this, people want to cope, the barstool conservatives in many ways have instinctively more masculine instincts than a lot of the nerds on Twitter who were like, actually, you know, Barbie is a conservative message because it defends the patriarchy, and Ryan Gosling is a Sigma male. DNGs, dork nerd geeks. It's true. It's very true. So the silent majority can't be ignored forever. This is shout out to our 82%. Let's go. Everyone be sure to vote in the poll, okay? Everyone be sure to vote in the poll. I'm just biased because I watched Barbie movies as a kid. Well, I don't know why you're watching Barbie movies as a kid, okay? I grew up in Southern California, okay? Like liberal paradise. And I was taught very vehemently growing up, not just by my parents, but just by social standards. Like, boys who got touched pink, who just touched the color pink. You're a girl. Okay? Where I grew up in Southern California, the idea of a boy watching Barbie, seeing Barbie, touching Barbie, frankly, touching the color pink, it was heavily socially ostracized. You got bullied for that to smithereens, okay? So I don't know what you were doing as a kid. But, you know. Dirty Mike says, Vince, would you go to see the Barbie movie with a girl if she said she was going to perform sexual favors in the theater? No, for so many reasons. Because first of all, that's just disgusting, okay? In a theater? Come on. Are we like desperate high school kids here? No, first of all, that's disgusting. Second of all, that's desperate, okay? Oh, please. You know, okay, if you bribe me with that, no, I can't be bribed with that, okay? I'm higher echelon, okay? You cannot, Medusa cannot tempt me with that nonsense, okay? With that degeneracy. So the answer is simply no. The answer is simply no, okay? That gives me no more incentive to want to. In fact, that actually incentivizes it less, okay? Because it's not even appealing to do it in a theater. That's just gross. Yeah, no, okay? That's a failed gotcha, Dirty Mike. Because the answer is absolutely no. So, should women watch Rambo? I don't care what women do. They can do. I'm speaking to you men, okay? I don't care if women watch Rambo, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me, okay? All right, that's a deflection. You're a better man than me. I can be bribed with that. Okay, that's just an L on your part, because you know what that also means, okay? It means you're desperate. It means you don't have options, okay? Because why does she have to hang leverage over your head to do it? Clearly, she just doesn't like you enough, Dirty Mike. This is true, okay? By the way, it's degenerate anyway, but come on, Dirty Mike. Come on, man. That's also just gross, okay? You know how many people have sat on that couch, on that whatever, okay? Do you think the high school wagey employees are cleaning that stuff? And think about the children, Dirty Mike. Think about the children, okay? think about everyone. I mean, oh, maybe you get an empty theater. Usually not, right? Especially if it's a new movie. So you're gonna like conceal it, whatever you're doing, in the presence of other people. Have some dignity, man. Have some respect, okay? Okay? There might be children in that theater. Disgusting. Disgusting. He's dirty Mike. Well, that's true. He's dirty Mike for a reason. There you go. Come on, man. Rise above it. Rise above this degeneracy, okay? Exactly. Be a ho no mo. Exactly. Exactly. So, all right. Last call for Super Chats. We'll end here at 9:30. Vince, what is your opinion on Elon's change of Twitter to X? I don't have much of an opinion on it. I don't know how it's going to go marketing wise. I don't know if it's either going to be very genius or very stupid. There's no in between. But, you know, overall, I don't really care. But the fact that it's driven a bunch of terminally online liberals insane, it makes me root for it. So let's go. We're all for X, okay? X gang, X gang, X gang. Spend 10 racks on a new chain. X gang, X gang, X gang. Okay? But I think what the angle I can see where it makes sense is that it's very futuristic, right? X. That just sounds like something in the 2030s, 2040s is just going to be a thing. Because as the language gets dumber and dumber, everything's going to get shorter in name, and you're just going to have stuff like X, right? So the angle I see, I think, could be that 10 years from the future, Facebook is going to sound outdated. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, right? And Elon's the one who's like 10 years ahead because he just names his site X, right? So, you know, I don't know if it's going to succeed or not. I'm not an expert. I would also say that all these people who are like, Elon is making a dumb business decision. Yeah, because you clearly know more about running a successful business than Elon Musk, right? Right? Random journalist on Twitter. Elon Musk is failing at running Twitter. Dude, you work for $40,000 a year. You have a pension. You can never manage money to save your life, much less. You can't manage your personal finances, much less manage the finances of a business. And you're here to say, Elon doesn't know how to run Twitter. So, I mean, that's kind of my take on it. So, I don't know if it'll work out or not. I'm not going to comment. I wouldn't call it stupid because Elon clearly knows what he's doing. And, you know, Twitter's been more successful than Meta as of late. Everything Meta has tried to do has been failing. Threads, look at that. That's a disaster, right? So, you know, until he massively fails, I'm going to trust Elon's business acumen, to tell you the truth, you know? And people who don't, they're just like pseudo billionaires. Oh yeah, really random CNN journalists. So I'm sure you know more about business than Elon Musk, right? Which is why you, of course, majored in journalism and need to work a wage job and can't run your own business because you know everything about business, right? It's just true. It's just true. So, nobody should watch the Barbie movie. There you go, Jennifer. It's true. JD says, I tried to send a super chat, but YouTube is giving me an error. Well, you can try the Streamlabs link. And if the Streamlabs link doesn't work, I mean, we have like Cash App and stuff too, if you want to try there. I'm sorry about that, though, man. Stuff is annoying sometimes. So, it's true. People who can't even pay their student loans back want to tell them how to do his thing. Exactly. Exactly. It's just so true. It's just so true. So, all right, folks, we've got no more super chats. Then I will wrap it up here tonight. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. And yeah, of course, we will be live tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time here on this channel for the next episode of The Vince Dao Show. Until then, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and sign up for our newsletter at vincedaotv.com. Okay, again, that's vincedaotv.com. Be sure to sign up there. Follow me on all of my social medias. Links are in the description. And yeah, also programming alert. We probably won't do a show on Friday. I'll be flying home to California for a few days. So I don't know. I might pre-record something, but I'll probably just take the day off realistically. You know, all these people, they take like weeks off. I take a day off and you guys are like, why don't you do a show? Oh my God. Okay. So I might just take the day off. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, all right. Though, until next time, guys, Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a very good night. Let's get the stream to 100 likes before we go. And yeah, peace. See you guys later. Jake Edwards says, Vince, I will pay you $10,000 to see the Barbie movie. And is this supposed to be a moral dilemma? Jake, you've never even super chatted the show, okay? And I'm not saying you have to. In all fairness, though, okay? You've never super chatted the show, and you want me to believe you're going to put up 10 grand to even make me consider that conundrum. That is, that's just not happening. So, don't even try. Don't even try, Jake Edwards. It's not happening. All right. Good night, guys. See you later. Thanks for tuning in.